Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, this video is all back on another Card 5 Vanguard deck with us. You guys enjoyed to like, subscribe, and start, shall we? This time we are covering Gold Paladin, Chromejailer. Bet you all were waiting for me to do this. Yeah, I meant to do Chromejailer like the week it was released, but I was like, I kind of want to fuck around with my deck a bit. Turns out I didn't need to because I literally just kept using it over and over again and didn't really change anything. So yeah, I guess I just wasted time for doing Chromejailer for nothing. But, well, I was also waiting to see if I would get a support card for it, so that too. Anyways, this deck is interesting. Outside of the Persona Blast, which is more of a detriment than a plus, it is definitely good. I've just chosen to make it the statement, if I don't get Chromejailer, I'm probably not hitting a full board. So let's go ahead and get this deck before I start, shall we? First up, our starter today is Spring Breeze Messenger, grade 0 boost, 10k shield, 6k base. Auto, when rode upon, draw a card, then of your opponent's Vanguard, your grade 1 or grade 8, the quick shield ticket to your hand. Standard starter, not special about it, you get a draw, you get a quick shield, that's pretty much it. It can pretty much be any starter you want that has this skill. My thing is, I don't mind using Spring Breeze Messenger as my starter because I really like him. My thing is, I really wished V had gone on longer so they could include more starters because, like, if you can't tell from most of my deck profiles, I kind of just keep using the same starter. One, because, yeah, they're my favorites, but also because, like, we don't really have much choice. We have, what, like, 3 to 4 starters per deck that isn't Bermuda's that have the same starter skill. We don't really have much options there. So, yeah, Spring Breeze Messenger, the starter, I wish we had more options, but you get what you get. Then we have our trigger lineup. We run a total of 6 fronts and 6 draws, 2 Knight of Hard Forceful Fight Nalnes, 2 Foresight Courier, 4 Dontagal, 4 Draw PG and Halo Shield Marker, 0 boost, 0 shield, 5k power, continuous Sentinel. You may have 4 zones in your deck and auto guard when placed. Discard 1 from your hand, one of yours cannot be attended to battle. And we have 4 heals and Elixir Sommelier. So first up, the reason why we run 6-6 in terms of the fronts and draws. Well, for Chromejailer's second ability to go off, all of your rear guard circles have to be filled. So even if you don't get the Persona Blast, which automatically would fill it for you, unless you just saw a bunch of triggers and you were like, yeah, fuck that, it's not worth it, then you're going to have to commit to hands. So that's what the draws are here for. The fronts, this is an Accel deck, and this is golds. If you don't know what that means, golds are like the ones that get a bunch of on-place abilities, but also they get a bunch of field spamming abilities. Except the downside to this is, for a lot of gold paladin rear guards outside of premium, not a lot of them have good sets of skills where they have use after their place. They either have really good use after their place because they don't have an on-place ability, or they have an on-place ability that's really good, but then after that they're fucking vanillas. So that's where the fronts come in, to make the things slightly more valuable and make it so that the rush you're putting on your opponent is far more dangerous than it needs to be. And the heals, well, we all know why I don't run heal guards at this point. If you don't know why, go watch the last video from a few months ago, because that explains pretty much why I don't like them. But what I don't like about the heal guards is just that they're detrimental to my playstyle, and somehow whenever I use them, they hurt me far more than help me. Like, every reason that everyone has ever said that made Heal Guardians good has always been like a negative thing to me, because those go against my personal playstyle. So I'm not going to run Heal Guardians if they only help in those specific circumstances, and they only do because it's just how they work. So 4 of Elixir Sommelier is my heal. If you want to run Heal Guardians, go ahead. The deck works with Heal Guardians, but I just prefer regular heals. Then we move on to our grade 1s. 3 copies of Knight of Vitality, Brennius, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. I've learned something about this card, or at least every time I use him. I used to not run him in Gold Paladin. I don't know why, maybe because he wasn't out back then when I first ran him. Then again, I think he was one of the first few Gold Paladin cards to be released in V. But for some reason, the second I started running him in my decks, I kept running him and I never got rid of him. Like, in each deck I built, and I don't know why. Anyways, auto rear, when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard is placed, shove him to soul, draw a card, call a card. Okay, reason for this, he gets you soul. Like, the deck does have a few soul blasters that can be used for countercharging, which is good, but you're obviously going to need soul chargers, especially when Chromejailer also costs soul blast for his skill. So that's where Brennius comes in. He gets you soul, but he still gets you a call, so your abilities can go off from it. All around, he's a really nice grade 1 that helps up for support. As long as you don't ride him, you're good with this thing. 3 of. Then we have 3 copies of Listener of Truth Dindrane, grade 1 boost, 10k shield at 7k base. Auto, when placed by your card's ability, soul blast 1 to either draw a card or countercharge one of these, you get +3 for the turn. Okay, really good. You can definitely use the countercharge and get +3, or you can use 1 to draw. Here's my thing. I have never used that skill to draw. Never. Never in my life. Maybe I have, and I just don't remember, but I normally use this to countercharge. Reason, and not just for this deck, just for every deck. And the reason why I do this, because I know in the long run, this is gold. I don't need fucking hand cards to make a board. I can make a board just by being on a Vanguard, depending on what deck I'm playing. And as for the hand cards, even if I don't need the countercharge, my response will be, But I might need that counter charge later. Fast forward a few turns. Oh wow, if I didn't do that counter charge, I would actually be dead right now. Yeah, there's reasons why I do that. I'm not saying that you always need to counter charge. I'm just saying I'm a paranoid fuck who happens to be right every time I'm paranoid. So 3 copies of Dindrane. I've proven my argument. Even my friend saw me prove my argument when he did the draw skill and it actually screwed him in the end. So 3 copies of Dindrane. I love this grade 1. The counter charge works and so does the 3k. And the draw if you choose to use it. Then we have 3 copies of Little Battler Tron, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Auto rear, when placed, counter blast 1, he gets +5 for the turn. Okay, doesn't have to be placed by Bodus, that's really cool. The counter blast kind of hefty, but whatever. And then auto Vanner rear, when its attack hits a Vanguard, if your Vanguard's grade is less than or equal to the opponent's, look at the top card called to rear guard. Here's what you do. You go second, you ride this, you swing. They take it, because who doesn't fucking guard at grade 1? I'm sorry, who guards at grade 1? You take a damage. You get a free call. If it's a grade 3, cool, multi-attack. If it's a Sagramore, good, use Sagramore skill. Call something behind it. You're swinging for 20. Doesn't matter if it's all trigger off the damage check, unless you saw a crit during yours, but if you're using this exact deck, you wouldn't see a crit anyways. And now, boom, you're swinging for at least a 10k drop, at most a 5k. So, as you know, it would be a 15k drop if you actually use Sagramore to call grade 1. So Tron is really good. He can definitely get multi-attack out in the early game. Afterwards, he's kind of meh. Granted, he doesn't have to call to an open rearguard circle, so, you know, he's really good in the late game. If your opponent has to take an attack, just put pressure on everything else. Those are dangerous cards, and then make them take Tron, so then they have to deal with the possibility of you getting a really good, strong extra attack. So, Tron all-around's a really nice grade 1 for the early game. He's an okay grade 1 in the late game. All-around, I really do like him. He is definitely one of my favorite grade 1s, so I give him a 3 of. Then we have 4 copies of Dawning Knight Gorboduc. Okay, typically I wouldn't rely on like a card that originally was Gurgit support, and I wouldn't put it in it outside of a Gurgit deck. But this is a special occasion that I'm willing to bypass that rule for. So grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. I love his sword. I don't know why. His sword's just so iconic to me, and so is his shield. Continues Vanguard or Rearguard during your turn. If you call 2 more Rearguards this turn, he gets +5. Oh, that's my favorite thing to do with this deck. Go second, write any grade 1, call a Gorboduc, use its skill, top 5, get a grade 3, discard something, shuffle the deck. Then call a second Gorboduc, do the exact same thing. Oh, boom, both of them get +5 because I called 2 or more cards. And then I just rush, and I attack with my Vanguard first. Oh, drive check, front trigger. Every time I do that, it happens. Every time I call 2 Gorboducs on the same turn, I sack a front. I don't know why. I think it's a curse. Or it might be a gift. Who knows? It just happens. And then what I just said, auto Vanguard or Rearguard in place, look at top 5, choose up to 1 grade 3 from on the reveal it, put it to your hand, shuffle your deck, and if you put a card, you gotta discard 1. So, all around, he's really good. He can search grade 3s, and that's really important in a deck where your main grade 3's Vanguard skill requires you to drop another copy of it. So being able to get 1 is really good, and then just the 5k making it so much more dangerous, because this is gold. You can call 2 units by calling 1. 1 unit easily turns into 2. Boom, this thing hits 13. All around, Gorboduc's amazing. I like this grade 1. I think it's cool, both in terms of art and skill. 4 of. On to our grade 2s. 4 copies of Knight of Strong Favors Berengaria, the countercharger that I like that art more than Dindrane, and yet somehow I use Dindrane more than I use Berengaria, even though I have her at 4 and Dindrane's at 3. So grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 9k base, auto rear, when placed by your card's ability, perform one of the following. Either counterblast 1 to soul charge 1 or soul blast 1 to countercharge 1. So really good because it can exchange 1 resource for another, so if you have like an overflow of soul, but you have very little counterblast, you can soul blast one of your many souls to get a countercharge, or say for example you have plenty of counterblast but you have very little soul, you can counterblast 1 to soul charge 1. That's really good, and I'm trying to remember what it's called now, Chromejailer, because since Chromejailer uses both costs, now it's actually a really good balancing technique. That's what I didn't like in Berengaria for other decks, is that other decks didn't really need it. Like, for example, Athels mainly, or at least whenever I used Athels, I never ran into soul problems, or rarely did. I would more run into counterblast problems, so I only ever needed her to fix my counterblast. Or like Gurgit, same thing, only ever needed her to fix my counterblast, so it was never really much of an issue. So the fact that she can do both in this deck for once, which is something I just like doing, even if I'm not going to ever use the soul charge skill, is pretty nice. I like it. I like Berengaria a lot. 4 of. And then we have 4 copies of Knight of Hard Work, Alienor, the card that literally fixes these soul problems single-handedly. I mean, yeah, Brennius helps, but this thing does like 95% of the work. So grade 2, intercept 5k shield, 9k base, auto rear when attacks, perform all the following effects according to the number of rear guards you called this turn. 2 or more, he gets +5 for the battle. Okay, cool. He also counts himself, by the way, so okay, just 14k swing on Accel gift, that's 19. And then if you have 4 or more, then you may have this unit get +10 for the turn. And if you do, at the end of the battle, shove him to soul. So he's a 20, so he gets both, by the way. So that means he would swing for 24 without an Accel gift. With an Accel gift, that's at least 29. And he's going to soul. Cool. You're pumping soul, you're opening up rear guards for skills that activate to call to open rear guard circles, and he gets numbers. All around, Alienor has been like the savior for a lot of my gold decks because he actually swings for deadly numbers. I cannot tell you how many times Alienor has forced out annoying amounts of cards to my opponent when they're like at 4 or 5 damage and they need to start guarding. So, 4 for Alienor. He is my saving grace in golds, and he literally subs himself to soul and does everything I need him to, so 4 of. Then we have 4 copies of our last grade 2 All-Out Knight Athels. Grade 2 Intercept, 5k shield, 9k base, auto Vanner rear. When placed from hand, discard 1. Look at top 3, choose up to 1 card with grade less than or equal to your current Vanguard's grade. Put it to call to rear, put the rest on bottom in any order. So, by dropping 1, you essentially get to replace it, hopefully, with the top 3. One of the top 3. Now, here's what I like about Athels. He's free. He doesn't cost Counter Blast. He doesn't cost Soul Blast. And I say free because while yes, he is discarding a card, technically speaking, that discarding is turning into another unit. So it could just end up being something else, like something better. For example, you could end up discarding a Foresight Courier over here, and you end up getting a Berengaria who can now give you a soul charge or a counter charge. So you just turn one unit into another, and frankly that unit could be better. That's what I like about Athels. Like, I remember the last time I used him in real life, which granted was only I think like a month ago when I had a really cool back and forth with my friend, I ended up getting 3 in my opening hand. What did I do? Ditch my entire hand on grade 2 turn except for 1 card. I got such a good board out of it. I got 3 grade 1s that were solid in the back row. I believe one of them was gun-held, which basically means if you have 1 or less hand cards in your hand, she gets +5 and she gets intercept from back row, which was really solid. No, I got 2 of them. So I had 2 athletes that would be at 22k swing, and then I had another grade 1, which I forgot what it was. It probably was Tron, considering I run Tron in that deck, and I run it at 4 of in that deck. And then next turn when I got to grade 3, well, they were already at 4 damage because I overwhelmed them with a rush attack, and they couldn't really stop me. I got an Accel gift, and then I just won that same turn because I sacked the front, granted, but like they were already struggling to defend anyways. The front just kind of put them out of their misery. So 4 of Athels. He's really good. He's super strong. He gets you a board. He does it for free, basically. He's pretty good. So 4 of. Then we move on to our grade 3s. 2 copies of Battlefield Storm Sagramore. You know what the weird thing is? I actually like his old version in terms of skills better than I like this one. I don't know why. I like the Counter Blast 1 get +3k over this. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I was locked out of Soul Blast for so long. Because again, to the people that don't know the story, me and my friend only played Vanguard area for a short time for some reason, and I couldn't use my soul, so I was unable to Soul Blast, which means I was restricted to Counter Blast decks. I mean, stuff like Sagramore I couldn't use, so maybe that's why I don't like him. I know that's why I won't use Berengaria's Soul Blast skill, because I literally couldn't whenever I played Golds, because I literally couldn't Soul Blast. So maybe that's why I don't I like Sagramore. Who knows? Anyways, his skill, grade 3 turns of Accel gift, 12k base, auto Vanner rear. When placed from hand, Soul Blast 1, draw a card, call a card from your hand to rear. So you can't use him via the effects of Chromejailer, because Chromejailer calls from deck, and you can't use him via the effects of Athels or Tron. Never mind. So I was wrong about that combo earlier with Tron. But on the bright side, with every other card in this deck that can call rear guards, you can use a skill, which is good, because that means you can Soul Blast 1, draw a card, call something, so you get to call the card you draw. And say, for example, you have another Sagramore in hand, call it Sagramore, use that Sagramore skill, get another attacker. Like, for example, Athels. Skill, you called Athels from hand, discard 1, get a board. Literally, the combos you can do with this is endless, and it's really cool. It's fun doing. I do like the Sagramore skill a lot. I just rarely use it because I constantly forget I actually have access to my soul. Either way, Sagramore is like one of the best grade 3s I've ever ran into, though, in Gold, and I think it's pretty good, so 2 of. Then we have 2 of White Hare and the Moonshot Pellinore. Now you can be smart and run Sagramore at 4, or you can be me and run Pellinore because you just like Pellinore. So grade 3 Twitch of Accel gift, 12k base. Auto hand, at the end of the battle, your rear guard's attack hit a grade 3 or greater Vanguard. Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 3, while it does stand, and this unit gets -1 draft for the turn. Would you believe this deck somehow doesn't have a soul problem? I wouldn't, by just looking at it, considering all the grade 3s have Soul Blast skills for their main abilities, and yet, for some reason, this deck doesn't have a soul problem. The lowest I've ever gone in soul was 1, and that's when I Soul Blasted when I was at grade 2. Just saying. It's crazy. It's phenomenal. Anyways, that's pretty good. You know, single Counter Blast, Soul Blast for 3, you just get an extra Vanguard attack. Pretty good. Pretty good. And then Auto Van, at the end of the battle, your rear guard attacked a Vanguard. Counter Blast 1, bounce the unit that attacked. So pretty much you can swing with the PG, and the PG will go to your hand, or you can swing with the grade 3 unit, and the grade 3 will go to your hand, so you can save for Accel gifts. All around, Pellinore is really good. It can turn your defensive swings into offensive swings, offensive swings into defensive swings, and all around, it's just a really good grade 3. I like Pellinore a lot. I think the original was probably better, but who cares? It's a good grade 3 nonetheless, because it can get multi-attack, so 2 of. Then we have our main grade 3 in our last unit in the deck, 4 copies of Conviction Dragon, Chromejailer Dragon. Kind of disappointed that he's not really a support card for Gorboduc, just because I always saw that as what it was, even though it never really was. It was just happened to be used by Rensama, but apparently, who cares? Anyways, interesting that he's the only card that I can think of that has Persona Blast in V. Well, I'm 95% sure there are like other cards in V that had Persona Blast skills in the OG. Or maybe Bushi was purposely avoiding Persona Blast and they just chose to make this card one of them. So anyways, Chromejailer, grade 3 turns of Accel gift, 12k base. Active Vanguard Circle once per turn. By counterblasting 1 and dropping a copy of it from hand, look at the same number of cards on the top of your deck equal to the number of your empty rearguard circles. Choose any number of unit cards from one of them, call into rearguard circle, and shuffle your deck. So you basically get to fill up your board. Now here's the plus to this. That's a very simple cost. You're only losing 1 hand card to technically make a board. If you have 6 open rearguard circles, technically this could hit all 6. Downside is, while you don't have to call all of them, remember, you can only run 4 copies of a card in the deck, and this deck can't recycle. So you might end up losing out on some Chromejailer usage if you just use it and then you don't call. So I hope for your sake when you use this, your whole top deck isn't just triggers unless you really need boosters. So that's the thing to be wary about. Yes, he can get you a board, but you also have to remember that top 5 is not scripted. It could be really anything, and those anythings could get you screwed over in the end. And then auto van when it attacks, if all of your rearguard circles have rearguards on them, Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 1, and this he gets plus 10k, a crit into battle. If you have 4 more damage, he gets a drive. So triple drive, double critical, 22k swing at any grade with your opponent's Vanguard's at. Okay, that's good. Downside is all your rearguards have to have all your rearguard circles have to have rearguards on them. Now here's my thing. If I remember correctly, locked units don't count as rearguards. I might be wrong, but if I'm right, then doesn't that mean if you're playing against Link Joker and they lock 1 card on your board, automatically you can't use Chromejailer? Because that's how it should work, right? If it doesn't count as a rearguard, because it says all rearguard circles must have rearguards on them. So if you have a locked card on your board and it doesn't count as a rearguard, then by default you shouldn't be able to use this. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but if it is, Chromejailer never should go up against Link Joker, because if they do, you should just scoop, or you should make sure you kill them before they start locking shit. So 4 of Chromejailer. He's an interesting card. He definitely has a very powerful ability locked behind the most complicated cost ever. Well, not the complicated cost, but like the worst cost ever of being a Persona Blast. And then his second skill, as good as it is, has no reason to be locked behind all of your rearguard circles must have rearguards on them. 4 of Chromejailer, though, because he is an aggressive beat stick that can swing at your opponent's grade 2 Vanguard with double crit, triple drive, 22 on its own. And then we have our 6XL1, 6XL2s. So both of them, when may go on a new form of rearguard circle and they go top left and top right, that is a mandatory ruling. I have no idea why Bushi made that a ruling, but whatever. So XL1, the unit on that circle gets plus 10 during your turn. XL2, when the circle is made, you draw a card and the unit on that circle is plus 5 during your turn. So XL2 obviously gives less power, but it gives more consistency, because that means you get to draw more cards, and that means you have more chances to draw into this boy, and that means you have more chances to call rearguards to actually abuse the circle with, instead of just XL1, where, yeah, it gives more power, but slowly but surely you're going to end up losing hand cards over time, and that circle's going to do nothing if you don't have units to call it to. So I like to pick XL2 with this deck because I like to draw into Chromejailer faster, but you know, if you want to go XL1 because maybe you need to kill them quickly, go XL1. But I prefer XL2. Then when our quick show, which is when one of your units is attacked, it gets plus 5k for the battle. Just a 5k shield you can use for discarding of such like Athels, which is my main discard card for him, or Gorboduc, which is my second main, or you know, you can just PG fodder with it, so, or you actually use it as a 5k shield, whatever you feel like it with it. Either way, here's a quick shield. You kind of have to run it. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Our Chromejailer is interesting. I'm not gonna say Bushi could have made it worse, because that would, well, no, they definitely could have made it worse. They could have made it far worse, but I'm definitely saying Bushi could have made it better. Maybe not have restricted it to all of your rearguard circles having rearguards on them, because if they did end up locking it behind locks, and that means you just play Link Joker and you automatically lose if they're playing like Star Invaders or something. And as for the Persona Blast cost, okay, that's interesting. I like it. But I wish instead of giving us like the Liberator card or Spectral Dupe reverse that they end up, well, maybe they can keep Spectral Dupe, but I really wish instead of the Liberator card they end up giving us something that could search the Persona right easier, because maybe that's just my knowledge of what I seen from Gold so far, because I did just throw this deck together randomly and just pray for the best. But in the end, I do definitely think we need more ways to consistently get a Chromejailer out to deck. Either way, it's still pretty good though. He can make a board really quickly. He can definitely be like one of the deadlier grade 3s going first. So all around, I think this deck is pretty good. Give it a try if you wanted to, because I do say it's pretty fun. So if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.